She's just stopping now. I wonder if she's going to sit down here. It looks like she almost might be sitting. What's wrong, Fang? Something doesn't seem right. She's busy. It looks like she actually has quite bad diarrhea, which is not a good sign. So what's wrong, girl? Something is... You see, she's now gone backwards. She just had some sort of discharge that came out of her rear end, and she's actually come back to sniff it now. I wonder if she's not got a bit of a tummy problem at the moment. It sometimes does happen where they get some sort of issue, and then she'll find that she's kind of just investigating to see what's going on. But it's very strange to see elephants having diarrhea. You do sometimes see it in the summer months when they eat vegetation that's got a lot of moisture in it. Do you have a wound maybe somewhere there that you're worried about, girl? Because she's busy spraying dust on it now. Wow, this is so cool. I wonder what's wrong. But you can actually see there's still some stuff coming out from underneath her tail that is of liquid nature, and I don't know what it is. I've honestly never seen that before. She looks healthy though. She doesn't look as though she's in any way in sort of got skinny or anything like that. And maybe just eaten something not quite right and it's taking its toll a little bit. But she definitely has got diarrhea at this stage, which is not ideal. You can see she's not comfortable even when she's trying to go to the toilet. She kind of is pushing her back legs down a little bit. Shame, girl, are you not feeling 100%? Like I say, it can happen that they do sometimes get a bit of diarrhea, but she's not in bad condition in any way, so I'm not worried about her. It's just that she's in probably a little bit of discomfort is all. Are you going to sit down there, girl? What's wrong? But you can see that stuff that is dripping down from underneath her tail there every now and then. And I can honestly say I've never seen this before, so I'm not sure what that could be a sign of. But there you can see a bit of mucus coming down. So she's obviously had a bit of diarrhea today, and that's causing her discomfort. Is that why you're trying to lie down every time? Now, she won't give birth, obviously, through that area, so it's not that she's pregnant or anything like that, in case some of you are wondering, but it's very, very odd. She's definitely not comfortable with whatever it is. Let's see if she's going to lie down. I just want to spend a bit of time with her and just see if she's not going to just settle down. She might find that she just wants to rest a little bit. And you can see the herd is not sure what's going on. Some of them have moved off a little bit. Others are standing and watching. I think they're wondering what is going on with their leader at the moment. She is the matriarch of this herd. You find normally when she moves, the rest do. And they all seem a bit kind of confused by it. And a lot of the females have actually come closer to where she is. I wonder if she's not communicating with them, telling them, I'm not quite right, I need to rest here. And the rest of them will slowly start to come this way. She looks like she's going to sit down again. So, John, you're wondering how old Fang is. Well, John, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure. It's quite a difficult thing to age elephants correctly, and particularly sort of older elephants. She is a much older individual. She's not a young female, so I would say she's probably, if I had to guess, I would reckon that she's probably... Oh, what's wrong, girl? No, you're not feeling well. Shame. Seems like she's really not feeling it this afternoon. She's normally quite an active female, but you can see she's kind of just lying there now. And I wonder if she's not going to just spend the night relaxing. It's much like us as people. When we're not well, we don't feel like being too sort of mobile. You'll find sometimes she'll then just lie down like this and take it easy. So a lot of you are saying that you're very worried about her. Well, I don't think you need to be worried just yet. Like I say, it is not uncommon for an elephant to get diarrhea. They do sometimes get a little bit ill, and they find that they just need to rest a little bit. So I don't think we need to stress too much. I will let the relevant authorities also know that she's kind of displaying this kind of behavior, just in case there is something that they want to come and check on her. As I say, I'm not a vet, so I don't really know what signs could be if she is in distress, but she's definitely taking it very, very easy. And she's not pregnant, that's for sure. I can see that she doesn't have a very swollen sort of system, so it's not that she's going to be giving birth by the looks of it. but she definitely is trying to take it easy. And the interesting thing is the other elephants and their sort of response. At this stage, a lot of them have just spread out and are feeding, and they're not really moving too far away, but there's also not a massive concern. If she was really, really ill and she was really struggling, you would find all the other elephants would have probably come to her aid and come to defend her, whereas you can see they're still busy feeding. So I don't think it's anything to worry about just yet. Elephants are very perceptive to one another, and I've seen when an elephant has actually died, the herd comes right around them and comes to where that elephant is. And if you see them with sick young individuals, so sometimes when they give birth to babies that are not well, then you'll find the whole herd is there and protecting. So I don't think they're too stressed about it at this stage, but it is definitely interesting behavior. So, Francis, you're asking if she could be having a miscarriage. I suppose it is possible, but like I say, the discharge that we're seeing is coming out of her anal area and not out of where she would have a baby, so I don't think so. But there we go, she's up again. What's wrong, girl? Are you uncomfortable? Like I say, you never know. She might have eaten something. In fact, we were talking about poison apples this morning and that elephants can eat them, and maybe she's just had one too many of those, and that's what's affecting her bowels a little bit. But you can see she sniffs where she's been lying. You see that? So she's almost as though to work out what is actually coming out of me. I'm not quite sure. And she's talking a lot. She's lots of low grumbles as well. So it's interesting to see it. And I'm going to spend time with her and just see how she does. But I hope she's okay. It is very concerning that she doesn't seem quite herself this afternoon. Right, well, while we kind of sit with Fang and see how she does and how the rest of the herd responds, let's go across to James, who I believe has found some elephants of his own. The herd has disappeared and Fang is all by herself and is still not looking well. She's now all of a sudden just seemed to perk up, but she's been sitting in the exact same spot the entire time we've been standing here, and has been kind of up and down and lying down and really hasn't looked great. But now all of a sudden she's up and moving as though nothing is wrong. So I'm not sure what's going on with her at the moment, but definitely is not 100%, and it is concerning. I don't like seeing animals in distress in any way, and it worries me a little bit because she is such a huge part of this whole Safari Live family, and I know many of you have watched her many times, and she's such a beautiful animal that it can be a bit distressing, and I'm, like I say, a bit concerned about her, and we've definitely let everybody know that should know that there is this sort of symptoms playing out, and we'll see what they say, because this time of the year you can sometimes get sort of anthrax that can come out because of the spores that are hidden in the ground, and it sometimes does happen with an elephant getting it, so you can see it from time to time, but I don't know if it's that. She doesn't seem that bad, but it's still not 100%, that's for sure. Now I'm going to try and just get way ahead of her and then turn off. She seems all of a sudden to be quite sprightly though. So Lisa, you're wondering what she could eat to make her tummy better. Well, it's unlike humans where they can just kind of go and get something to sort of nibble on or some sort of food item. It really is not that easy for them. So you'll find that sometimes they just try and get plain leaves or grass. They'll also sometimes even eat soil. There's microbes in soil and varying sort of nutrients that they don't get from a lot of other things that can help. But isn't that beautiful with the sort of sunset in the background? That's very pretty. She all of a sudden seems much better though. She seems to be moving a lot more. At one point she almost looked a bit wobbly on her feet, but now she seems to be striding and is almost back to her sort of normal confident self, which is quite something. Now I'm going to just try and reposition us again because of the light that we've got on her over her shoulder there. It's very pretty. Now the rest of her herd just disappeared off into this area here on our left hand side, so it's almost like she's realized the herd has now drifted away and that she's going to try and catch up with them. But there's another young bull over here, so let's see how this sort of interaction goes. He's coming back towards where she is. There's been lots of grumbles that have been going on, and she's been calling quite a bit, and I wonder if the herd might not turn and come back towards where she is. But here we go. So she's just under the marula tree at the moment. Hello, boy. Are you going to go and see what's going on with Fang? So Izzy You're wondering how big is Fang's herd in numbers. Well, earlier I was trying to count them, and I was busy doing it when Fang unfortunately started to show that she wasn't well. So I didn't get it the whole way, but I think there should be around just over 30 of them in that herd. So next time we see the whole herd out in the open, we'll have to count them for you to make 100% sure, but somewhere around there. Now, if it wasn't for the fact that Fang wasn't feeling very well, that would be one of the most beautiful pictures ever. The two sort of elephants under that sunset in a big marula tree. It really is a very special picture. Now let's see the interaction between these two. Jean-Andre, I'm going to try and just go forward a little bit so that you don't have that bush in your way. Now you see he's busy sniffing her as well, just trying to see and work out. And you can actually, there's a really cool picture of just how big Fang actually is. Look at her size. The male's on the left, and that's not a particularly young male. That male's probably already in his 20s. He's a big boy, but you can see she's a similar sort of size. And look how he's smelling her. Now she is dribbling from... look at that. That's interesting. Maybe she is having a miscarriage. You see, look, she's dribbling from... There we go. And he's busy smelling it. And it's a clear liquid. There we go. You can see. I wonder if there's a little bit of blood in there as well. Maybe she is having a miscarriage. It's possible. Earlier it looked like it was coming from below her tail, but she's definitely dribbling from there. And you can see, look, she's now smelling where she's just urinated or dribbled from. And now she's picking up dust, and it looks like she might spray it under her tummy. You see that? This is the most interesting behavior. I have never in my life witnessed it before, and I honestly cannot tell you what it could be. It really is quite strange. What is wrong, girl? What is going on? She's not pregnant enough to be giving birth, that's for sure. The male seems to be sniffing it and becoming almost aroused by this all, which is quite strange. And look at the dust, the gold dust as well. Like I say, if it wasn't for the fact that the sort of symptoms are worrying and that she looks a little uncomfortable, it would be probably one of the most magical elephant scenes I've had in a long time. There's that setting sun in the background. But she seems like she's okay now. She's definitely walking a lot better than what she was earlier. Let's see. It would be a massive turnout for the book. But there you go. See, it's still leaking from her anal area as well. No, I'm not 100% sure what is going on with her. The bull is definitely intrigued by her as well. You see, look how he's smelling wherever she's discharged. What's going on? Like I said, I have no idea, but it is slightly concerning to say the least. We often become so vested in these animals, and it's sometimes very difficult to watch these kind of things where you see an animal that's not quite right and you can't understand what's going on. Obviously we can't speak to them and they can't speak to us, and it becomes very difficult to know what actually is going through that elephant's mind, or whether or not this could be something that is very serious. And like I say, I'm not a vet, so for me I don't know if those kind of symptoms are anything to worry about, or if it's just something that will pass. And with her, I've just never seen it before, and that's where it becomes a bit worrying. So, H. Macy, you say if something happens to the matriarch, is there a next in line? Yes, there will most definitely be. So there will be another senior female that will lead the herd around and take her around and show what goes on, and she will have learned from that matriarch. So it will definitely happen that another one will pull into it and fill into that area. So you'll see that that's not too much of a stress for the herd. Obviously the herd would go through a period of quite a lot of stress just in that situation where they lost the matriarch, because it'll be a massive change for them, and they rely quite heavily on the matriarch at times. And so it will definitely be a little bit of a stressful period, but there will be another female that will take over and become the matriarch of that particular herd. Now, if they go into this thicket on the left, I'm going to leave her there because I don't want to go crashing around her and stressing her any more than she is. The rest of the herd is just feeding off to our left here. They're all in the thicket here, so she's going back to where the herd is, which is where she needs to be, particularly if she's not feeling well. You don't want her to be sort of harassed by any sort of predator. And if she goes back into the herd section and it's not very sort of, and it gets too thick, I'm going to leave her there and let her just carry on with her day. I don't want to stress her in any way. But the bull is kind of right behind her the whole time. He's just on my left-hand side here, and so is she. And the rest of the herd is just behind them. I can actually see most of the herd behind them as we speak. So I'm just going to go around. There we go. It's okay, girl. It's okay. What's wrong? She's come right up next to the side of the car, so I'm just getting quite quiet because I don't want her to feel like we're challenging her in any way. But she's definitely been leaking quite a bit all afternoon because she's got lots of fluid. It almost looks like a male in must. But isn't this incredible? We've got her in front, the young male to our left, who's going to come into picture now. Okay, guys. I'm really not sure what's going on with her. Shame, my girl, you're not feeling well. I'm trying to see if there isn't maybe a wound somewhere on her, but I can't see now. She is, like I say, the bull is right here as well, so you just behave yourself because you're being naughty chasing her. Stop chasing her around. And he's far too young to mate, so it's not one that we have to worry about. But she's now coming around the back of us. So she's now going back towards her herd, which is actually the best thing that could have happened. I'm quite glad that she's come around this side and she can then maybe head back towards where her herd is. Now what could have happened as well is she might have had a miscarriage earlier, and this is just the body's response now. So we're just seeing the back end of it, and that's why she's still a little bit sort of... No, leave her alone, you naughty bull. You can see she's trying to get away from the bull elephant, and she almost comes to us every time. Leave her. I don't know what his problem is. Leave her alone. Come on. It's okay, my girl. She is right next to us as well now. They're just kind of doing this sort of circular motion around us at this stage, and I actually have no idea why. Maybe he's just really interested in what's wrong with her, but this is the most unbelievable thing. To have these elephants kind of just going circular motions around us really is super interesting. It's okay, girl. She's dribbling again. Leave her alone. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. See, he's smelling her urine again. So he's trying to see if she's possibly in heat. Look, there we go. He's smelling on the ground. You can see there, you see he's got his trunk down and sniffing where she just dribbled. Now I wonder if she's, maybe she's coming into heat as well, I don't know. Girl, what's going on? But I feel like we are part of this whole thing now. They are really kind of on both sides of us at the moment. Are you okay, my girl? This is one of the most incredible interactions I've ever had with an elephant. We've got, like I say, a bull on one side, a female on the other, and they are within meters of this car. They are really, I would say, a meter on either side, and they are actually throwing dust all over themselves, and we are being covered in it. This is so interesting. But I'm just glad that she's able to use us almost as a barrier between him and her at this stage. I just don't want him to harass her too much. I know that's a selfish thing to say, and we shouldn't be like that, but I also don't want to move too much. They both are so close to us at the moment that any sort of movement might cause a bit of a fluster amongst them, and I don't want her to feel any more stressed than she probably already is. The interesting part about all of this is I'm watching her temporal glands, and the entire time where we've been with her, her temporal glands are not leaking, which means that she's not emotionally stressed. So that tells me that she maybe knows what's going on with her, and she's been through this before, and that she's not actually showing a visible sort of stress sign, which is really interesting. What's wrong, my girl? Are you okay? I can honestly say this is one of the most special moments that I have ever been in. To sit with a female that is this close. Female elephants generally are not this relaxed around you and allow you to get this close. So for her to sit as close as she is right now, and for her to be in this sort of more compromised state and to be able to spend time right next to her, it is a feeling that I can't really describe to you. And I don't know about any of you, but maybe this is a good time for some of you to have a one-word tweet as to what you would feel if you were in this situation and you had this beautiful female right next to you and sort of didn't know what was going on. I think my one word would be just uncertainty. While this is the most amazing thing I've experienced, it's just, I'm so uncertain as to what's going on. I don't know what her issue is. But I am so intrigued by this whole process, as well as kind of a bit worried, really, to be honest with you. And so a lot of you are wondering if she's asking us for help. Well, no, she's not asking us for help. She's just using us as a barrier. You see, every time the bull moves, she moves with him. So she's coming around, and we almost like this little barrier between her and the male itself. So she's using us much like she would use a tree in this essence. So she's not asking us for help. Earlier, when we were parked with her, she didn't come close to us at all. So I'm trying not to move too much. So if I'm sitting at an awkward angle and not looking the right way, I do apologize. She's just so close that if I shift in my seat, I don't want to give her a fright. But I don't think she's asking us for help. She's not putting her trunk out towards us in any way. She's not in any way being sort of showing any visual cues other than that she's just watching the male. So where the male moves, she moves the opposite of that. My girl, what's going on? You are a very special elephant, you know that. Sure, this is one of the most amazing experiences I've ever been a part of. Wow. Are you okay? This is incredible. Sometimes just to sit quietly next to them is probably more value right now than me going and talking. So I'm going to keep quiet for a little bit and just listen to the herd. I'm hoping they're going to start talking to one another because the herd is approaching slowly. She's definitely not emotionally charged because, like I say, she wouldn't be right near us like this. She also would be leaking heavily from that temporal gland, which she's not. So I have no idea what's going on with her. Look how she's curled her trunk up. Oh, she's just dropped it now, but she has curled it up next to her. See, now the male's coming around again. So you see now she moves to the other side of us again. But look at her sun sort of dust bathing. And this amount of dust bathing is also uncommon for an elephant. You know, she's been doing it all afternoon. So I don't know quite what the situation is. Now the male's coming around again. You just leave her alone. Stop it now. It almost looks like a female that's in must in a way. You can see dribbling again. What's going on? Are you worried about this? Again. Now go to your herd. The rest of the females are there. They'll look after you. Come on. Off you go. Go to your herd. Okay. You two just behave yourselves now. But that is about as close as it will ever get to a female elephant. And okay, you can't sit here. Don't sit here, my girl. I'm just trying to let her have sort of her space and not move around too much. It's the male that's causing her distress at this stage because he's just following her all over the place. But they really are, like I say, right around us at the moment. You stay there. Behave yourself. Stop being naughty. Now, the reason why I'm not worried about him giving us too much trouble is because he's a young male. So if I shout at him and give him a bit of a talking to, he will go away because he is still concerned about us. You can see every now and then he gets sort of a bit flustered by the fact that I'm here, and so I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about her feeling that she's being too stressed out by all of this, but she's definitely using us like she would use a tree. It's the exact same process. Yes, go that way. There we go. That's it. Well done. Clever girl. There we go. There's the rest of your herd. Go and spend time with them. They'll look after you. There we go. Now the bull's on his way towards her, but the rest of the herd is there, and I'm hoping the other females don't tolerate this bull's nonsense and they push him away a little bit. Wow, what an amazing experience that was. I honestly can't tell you how incredible that was. That is probably one of the most special sightings I've ever had in my life. I've never, ever, ever experienced anything like that. That was unbelievable. But we're going to try and just see what plays out here, and I'm going to try and see if we can follow them a little bit. We'll put the infrared lights on so we don't disturb them, and while we do that, it's time for Brent to say his goodbyes. So let's go across all the way to the Mara for Brent to say goodbye. We are still with the elephants because the saga is still playing out. She's still right near us, and the more I watch her, the more I don't think she's sick, the more I think it's something to do with birthing or miscarriage or one of those two. Maybe she's just had maybe she has a very small calf inside there that we just haven't seen, that she's that heavily pregnant. I don't know, but there's definitely, it looks like that. When she pushes her back legs out and it looks like she's prepping to give birth. The elephant that I've seen give birth, she stood in the exact same way as that this elephant was standing, and sort of the behavior is not quite the same, but it's very similar. So I would imagine if it's a miscarriage, there would be some sort of pain involved and some sort of confusion, and that's maybe leading to some of the behavior that we're seeing. But the more I watch her, the more it looks like a birthing thing more than an actual that she's sick or ill. Because you see, she stretches her legs, and they often do that when they birth, so that the distance between where they give birth and the baby falling to the ground is so much less. So that could be sort of the signs that they do that. And she's not wobbly on her feet. She's not, like I say, secreting from the temporal glands. There's no mucus coming out of her mouth or out of her trunk. So the only thing I can think is that there's some sort of labor-induced issue going on. Now, I do apologize for the aerial, but she literally is standing so close to us that I can't move at all, and she's moving around in circles, and so we will see a sort of sign of her coming back around, and the poles will all be out of the way. She was standing right next to us, but then the naughty bull came down again. Now, are you going to feed? That's good news if you do start feeding. But this is... So I know Lou is reminding me about the fact that we saw the placenta, and I've been thinking about it the whole time, but that wasn't this herd. So I saw that herd in the morning on bushwalk, and it wasn't Fang's herd, although I didn't see Fang, so it might have been her herd, and maybe it is her. Maybe she's going through this sort of process where she's having a miscarriage, and that's that placenta that we've been finding, and over the last 2 days this is what's been going on. It could very well be this whole saga is playing out from already 3 days ago. It is the most interesting thing that I've ever seen when it comes to elephants, and it just goes to show you how little we actually understand about them. So you can see she's just kind of going behind the vehicle, and like I say, she's right behind us, and I don't want to stress her in any way, and I don't want to make her feel like she has to move. It's better that she stays where she needs to be, and we kind of leave her where she is. You can see the rest of the herd is right here in front of me at the moment, so that's fine. The rest of the herd is here, and they are around. Now, our naughty bull is back again. You stay where you are. Why are you coming back again? Enough now. Stop it. Now, she's coming back to this side. My girl, what's going on? So she's right next to the car again because the bull is just coming towards her. What's going on, girl? Are you okay, my girl? I think the bull is more just curious than anything else. He's a young male, and he probably doesn't quite know what's going on himself. And so he's probably just sniffing because there's all kinds of smells going on here. Now, let me just, get out of the way there, Jean-Andre, so you can see what I was talking about. You see how she keeps squatting a little bit? And he's smelling around her backside as well. What's going on between the two of you? And back to the game that we were playing earlier, where they go round and round us again. Although it seems like a young male's now going to get involved too. I honestly have no idea what is going on with this elephant and what the rest of the herd is responding to, but there's definitely a whole bunch of communication happening here that we have no idea about, and we are just being absolutely privileged to be a part of this and to actually witness this. This is, without a doubt, this will always be my most memorable elephant sighting. So Vern, you're wondering if a herd would sense if something was wrong? Most definitely. I've seen it with elephants before, when as soon as something is wrong, the herd most definitely senses there's an issue and they all come running to the aid, particularly in a case where you've got the matriarch like this that is in some sort of distress. So they would then feel like if there was a problem that they should come and defend her. Now you also stop it now. What is wrong with the young bulls this afternoon? You can see I've got another one here that's starting. Yes, go. You're being naughty now. So the rest of the herd would definitely have that sense of there's a problem and they would come and try and help out. You can see the herd itself is actually quite relaxed. They're not moving around too much. They're all sitting feeding. And so that's why I think it's something to do with a birthing situation, because they would have all seen this before. If a female is going to give birth, they've all been through it. There's all babies inside here and they know the discomfort and the stress that the female will go through during that process. And so that's maybe why the rest of the herd is not responding in any way whatsoever. They're all just feeding. Excuse me, sorry, there's a bit of dust from all of the elephants throwing dust around. And so the rest of them are just feeding and taking it very easy. Now they're walking because Fang has gone all the way around and she's actually going to pop out somewhere in front of us here, and they're all moving towards where she's going. But the bigger bull is what's upsetting the apple cart, so to speak. He's the one that's causing this movement of the herd. Whenever he comes around, all the young males move, all the females take a bit of a turn. So it seems like he is the sort of cause of a lot of the sort of frustration at this stage with some of the others out here. But she herself is not stressed with us as well. She's not showing any sign that she's in any way upset with us being close by to her or us being anywhere in the vicinity of the herd. The rest of the herd is not being aggressive to us. We have not seen ears flayed. We have not seen any signs of her sort of being stressed out with us as a sort of entity. So it really is just the most incredible behavior and something I really am not sure about. Now, Fang is quite far away, so if you do hear a bit of scratching and branches breaking, that's okay. I'm not going to be stressing her out too much. She's quite a long way away from where we are already. She's going back towards quarantine clearings now. The other thing about an elephant giving birth is I don't know that much about it, and not many people do, because it's not something you're going to be able to see every single day. And from what I've read about it and what I've seen in a lot of the videos I've watched and just kind of looking to research this kind of thing, that most elephants will spend time giving birth on roads and sandy areas and open areas. And we've seen her today. Every time she sits or squats, it's on a sandy road section or in the middle of the quarantine clearings. That's where she keeps kind of going to. So it's interesting behavior in that regard. And I honestly have no idea how else to explain this. I don't know what else it could be. I don't think she's ill. I don't think we need to be concerned that she's going to be sort of die from this, but it's definitely something is not 100% right, and it's not her normal behavior, and that's all I can really explain for sure. Now she's just here in front. Now here we go. So this is so beautiful because we've actually got a crescent moon above her at the moment, which is very pretty. Now I'm going to just try and see if we can't get there. We go. So she's just off to my side. So there's the crescent moon. And you can just make out Fang. Now, unfortunately, it's going to be a bit bright if we try and expose for her because it will burn out the sky. But there we go, the crescent moon and the infrared light together. And there she is. As you see, she's starting to do that squat again a little bit. I would love to know. I would love to be able to talk to her now and know what's going on and know if we should be very concerned or if that everything is going to be okay. It's really just such a difficult thing to be a part of. Like I said, we shouldn't get emotionally invested because they are wild animals and we don't look after them in any way. But you do. We spend so much time with them, and in a way we do have a responsibility to look after them and to make sure that they're okay. As numbers of all of these species start declining in the world, it almost is our responsibility to make sure that these animals are in some way not distressed and are doing okay. So Mia, you're saying you wonder if they're getting urinary tract infection. Sorry, getting a bit tongue-tied there. I suppose it's possible, Mia. I don't know. Like I say, I'm not a vet, and so I don't really know a lot of the sort of diseases that elephants can suffer from. I just know that they are quite resilient animals, and in most of the time that I've spent with them, the only things that they really kind of can be susceptible towards is pretty much Anthrax is a big one, and other than that, not very much at all. They seem to be sort of resilient to most of the others. Interestingly enough, there was an elephant that was found with TB recently in the Kruger National Park section, and the most interesting point about that is not uncommon for an elephant to show positive for TB, but the fact that the elephant was TB positive with human strain TB, which means it's come into contact with TB from a human somewhere. Now, I know this is a whole sort of situation, but that image there almost reflects the mood of the situation. Eerie dust around her with that glowing eye in these wooded thickets. There is just something about that picture that is kind of very, very fitting for the mood of what is going on. Now, you see, look how she's raising her head, and that is because her bull is approaching her again. So you can see the bull is providing her an irritation more than anything else. She doesn't do that with us at all, just with this male when he comes along. But it would be interesting to know. I suppose that they should every now and then suffer from urinary tract infections, but at the end of the day, elephants are so resilient that they tend to be able to get over things like that. This to me is more something to do with a reproductive situation, or, like I say, a miscarriage or a birth that's not quite happening. I would say miscarriage because she's definitely not round enough to have a fully developed calf inside there, so miscarriage would be my guess. And like we say, we have found bits of placenta around, and Rexon and I were actually, funny enough, talking about it this morning, and we were saying that it could be an indication of a female that is having a problem with her birth, and this behavior that we're seeing right now is very indicative of something like that. So I reckon that is what is happening at the moment. It's something to do with the miscarriage. I just want to turn around. I'm not going to go too close to her while the bull's after her, but let's just turn. Right, so while we kind of just see how this all plays out for a little bit longer, let's go across to Jamie, who's driving into the sunset, and hopefully is going to have some good news for us at some stage.